After failing to lead a scoring drive in 6 possessions Friday night versus the Panthers, interim quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo can't take solace in the notion that Patriots coach Bill Belichick puts little stock in the idea of the third preseason game as a dress rehearsal for the season opener. Garoppolo got off to a slow start for the third consecutive game, managing the first down on just one of his first 4 possessions. When suspended starter Tom Brady came on in relief to make his 2016 preseason debut late in the first quarter, the difference in effectiveness between the two quarterbacks was immediately apparent. Brady's first pass led Aaron Dobson perfectly for a 37-yard catch and run. His second completion was a beautiful 33-yard drop in the bucket for a touchdown to Chris Hogan. While Brady has developed a late career reputation for inefficiency on downfield passes, his willingness to pull the trigger stood in stark contrast to Garoppolo's reluctance to throw past the sticks. If you're scoring at home, Garoppolo's lone pass of 25 or more yards on 54 August attempts is a 56-yard screen pass that traveled just a few yards in the air. Brady's first 2 completions combined for 70 yards. It's notoriously difficult to judge quarterback play in the preseason, as defenses rarely scheme for a specific opponent and offenses save their game plans for the genuine article. In the case of Garoppolo, that puzzle is even more confounding without the presence of Rob Gronkowski, Julian Edelman and Danny Amendola, 3 of the top 4 weapons in his aerial attack. With Brady at the helm, the Patriots averaged 2.42 points per drive last season, the 4th highest mark in the league. What should we make of Garoppolo's 1.61 points per drive this preseason, the figure that would have ranked better than just 5 teams in 2015? As the starter quarterback for the first month of the season, Garoppolo won't be asked to carry the teams in Brady-like fashion, just as Brady succeeded as a system quarterback charged with managing the game early in his own legendary career. Garoppolo shouldn't be asked to pull off a convincing impression of Brady, the Big Fidel quarterbacking clinic. It's no wonder that Belichick mumbled in disdain when queried about the mind-numbing, pie-in-the-sky hypothetical of Garoppolo turning Brady into an afterthought by Week 5. Here's what else we learned in Friday's action. 1. With Matt Jones out for the preseason and backup Chris Thompson sitting out for precautionary reasons, the Redskins could not afford to lose another running back. The preseason gods, however, had different plans. Keith Marshall sprained his left elbow on an awkward fall on his first carry in the first quarter and did not return. Marshall was going to split carry with fellow backup Robert Kelly, who ran strong up the middle, finished with 51 yards on 12 carries. Washington's tailback situation remains a lingering concern going into the regular season. 2. Kirk Cousins started slow in his second preseason start, tucking an interception into tight coverage on Washington's first drive. However, the Redskins' franchise-tagged quarterback finished strong despite his butterfinger wideouts. Cousins threw 3 touchdowns in the second quarter and finished with 188 yards on 23 attempts. Forget for a moment that he was picking at Buffalo's second and third string defensive backs, and feel encouraged, Washington fans. Cousins proved its season is off to a solid start. 3. Before the game, the injury and suspension-riddled Bills announced that they would sit most of their starting defense. Ronald Darby, Nicole Roby, Kyle Williams, Jerry Hughes, and Tyrod Taylor's top 2 targets last week, LeSean McCoy and Charles Clay. Coach Rex Ryan also quickly pulled his remaining stars as Tyrod Taylor and Sammy Watkins played just 2 series. Taylor finished 2 for 5 for 11 yards, targeting Watkins just once. Ryan said after the game, "I feel good about the guys we sat. I didn't want to risk them getting injured. They'll be ready when it counts." For the Bills' blustery coach, treating the third preseason game like the fourth is unlike him, but Buffalo's offseason has proven so wild that it has turned Ryan into a worry. 4. Sports psychologists, who need them? Much maligned Buccaneers rookie kicker Roberto Aguayo was effect Friday, going 6 for 6 on 3 extra points and 3 field goals 48, 27, 21. Hopefully, the Tampa Saints Petersburg metro area can breathe a little easier and we can put this overblown storyline to bed. 5. Reports of Jameis Winston's sophomore slump have been greatly exaggerated. The Buccaneers gunslinger 16 over 25, 259 yards, to TES ripped Cleveland's sad, overmatched secondary to shreds, threading back shoulder needles to Vincent Jackson, throwing darts to Mike Evans and juking Browns defenders outside the pocket. Winston's pocket awareness and ensuing evasiveness were on full display on his first touchdown pass on the night, during which he rolled out right and cut back inside to avoid pressure and toss an easy score to Charles Sims. Tampa Bay's Jameis Evans battery will be a sight to behold this season. Inversely, the Browns' defense resembled a rusty sieve, which made the following all the more promising. 6. Josh Gordon is back in a major way. The Browns receiver embarrassed Tampa Bay's secondary in the first half, hauling into Robert Griffin bombs over and past veteran cornerback Brent Grimes. He was the third receiver alongside starter Terrell Pryor and rookie Corey Coleman, who made his first appearance this preseason. Coleman's first reception came on a 9-yard funnel screen, but was negated by a pass interference call on Pryor. One step forward. With a full receiving arsenal in tow, the Browns defense gave us a preview of what we should expect come Week 5, deep balls on every other plane, inconsistent gains on the ground from Isaiah Crowell and hilarious RGI two-footed slides. 7. The Bucs defense had 8, count them, 8, sacks of Browns quarterbacks. Jeffy Smith boasted 2, while Quan Alexander and rookie Noah Spence stood out up front with 1 each. 8. As is the case almost every August, fantasy owners are still trying to figure out the pecking order in the Patriots' backfield. Just when Leverett Mound appeared to be locked in as the early down, between the tackles hammer, Tyler Gaffney drew the start and played the first 2 series. Although Gaffney showed better awareness of the hole this week, he averaged just 3.9 yards per carry compared to Mound's 5.2. We remain convinced that Mound is the superior runner, by a wide margin. 9. The recent success of Michael Bennett and Malik Jackson has NFL teams experimenting with their own hybrid defensive linemen capable of slipping between end and tackle. New England might have a version of their own in disruptive 2015 fourth-round draft pick Trey Flowers, who took the quarterback down for the 3rd straight week. 10. To the surprise of no one, the connection between Cam Newton and Kelvin Benjamin remains a work in progress after a monstrous whiteout missed the entirety of the 2015 season. Benjamin's first 4 targets resulted in an overthrow, the miscommunication, an offensive pass interference penalty and an interception. Benjamin played more snaps than expected, hauling in 3 of 6 official targets for 27 yards. 11. So much for the early camp Sammy Coates hype. The Steelers' first-team defense made its 2016 preseason debut versus the Saints, with Eli Rogers manning the slot between Antonio Brown and Marcus Sweeten. Rogers and tight end Jesse James were targeted 3 times apiece on the opening drive, as a surgical Ben Roethlisberger carved up New Orleans' defense. 12. The rejuvenated C.J. Spiller saw time with the first-team defense for the 2nd week in a row. The Saints clearly want to highlight Spiller in the passing game now that he had rediscovered his game-changing lateral agility after a knee injury sabotaged his 2015 New Orleans debut campaign. 13. Recommended by Bill Parcells, pint-sized Northern Illinois undrafted rookie Tommy Lewis continues to make a strong push for a roster spot at wide receiver and kick returner. Look for Coach Sean Payton to take advantage of Lewis' elusiveness on jet sweeps, bubble screens, deep balls and the occasional gadget play.